Manowaban Nui, Debukokne, Higim Nomba. Good morning, Nui. Did you sleep good last night?
Nadeyaquis.
Jeeptaben Nomak, Kedamanakwemen Honored Copy. Sit down a while, let's drink some coffee.
Ahow, Misho.
Hey, Nui, do you want to go with me over to the prayer circle and restock the firewood?
Sure, Grandpa. How does this prayer circle work? Is this part of our religion as Potawatomi people?
That's kind of a complicated question, Nui.
Misho, we talk a lot about traditions, but what religion did the Potawatomi follow?
There are Christian Potawatomi, Jewish Potawatomi, Muslim Potawatomi, Buddhist Potawatomi, Native American Church, Big Drum, and traditional Potawatomi. People follow all sorts of beliefs today.
Misho, you were talking about different beliefs that people follow today, but what about Benowi, long ago?
It's more about spirituality than it is organized religion. Heck, long ago, not everyone followed the same way. I guess we've always been a little independent as a people. Just like during the American Revolution, some folks sided with the British and some sided with the Americans.
That's cool, Misho. So we were kind of free thinkers.
I can talk a little about different beliefs people have held and some still hold today. But just like not everyone wears the same size of shoe, it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. I think one theme that really tends to hold true with most traditional Potawatomis is the idea of respect. Remember our values and holding those as an ideal will help get a deeper sense of the traditional Potawatomi beliefs.
So kind of like those 7 grandfather teachings.
Yeah, Nui, like those. We don't push our views on people. People are free to believe however they choose. If, for example, you attend a traditional ceremony and don't like it, you just don't go back. It's not your job to badmouth individuals or groups. Sometimes it's hard to live a traditional life, and folks try the best they can. You gotta give them the benefit of the doubt. You can offer advice and suggestions, but then it's up to them to decide what to do.
So in a traditional Potawatomi ceremony, should it all be in Potawatomi? What if folks can't talk the language?
That's a great reason to learn your language. People gotta do the best they can. The Creator understands your heart and knows if you're trying. Sure, it's always good if you can start and end the ceremony with a prayer in Potawatomi. If you can do the whole ceremony in Potawatomi, even better. People just gotta not be so hard on folks when they're trying. A lot has been lost over the generations.
So things like boarding schools, the Trail of Death, and assimilation have had quite an effect on us. Is that the reason there is a prayer as part of the language class?
Yeah, Nui, it's important to try our best to use the language. One elder told me when we pray in English, it echoes through the building. But when we pray in Potawatomi, it breaks right through the roof and is a very powerful prayer. It's the language of our ancestors. It's the language of this continent. And at one time, they say our people could talk to the animals, and even the earth can understand us. We are connected to all our relations. Nadenwen Maganuk.
I'm going to try hard to learn that prayer.
In most communities, it's usually an elder that prays. When asked to pray, an elder is offered tobacco. I was told when you offer tobacco, if it comes from a pouch, you should open up the pouch and take a pinch out, and then hand the rest to that person.
That's right. You said tobacco is supposed to precede all things. That's why we offer it whenever we make a traditional request of a person. Ask for a name or when we pray, when we start a ceremony or when a storm blows in. So what if a person does something wrong? Seems like there's a lot of rules to remember, or if a person just doesn't know better.
I've always heard it said that the Creator knows your heart and can see your true intentions. You can fool a man, but you can't fool the Spirit. They also say you won't be judged as harshly if you don't know any better. But once you know better and intentionally do disrespectful things, then you will be judged much harsher.
What do you mean, judged?
A lot of folks say that what we do today affects not only us, but for generations beyond. That's why they say you should think about 7 generations. How does the decision that you make today affect the next 7 generations of our people? And how does it honor the 7 generations before us? It's like with tobacco. You have to think good thoughts when you're holding that tobacco. Whatever thoughts or feelings you're having go into that tobacco and then are carried up when you place it on a fire or on the ground. Kind of like witching somebody.
Dang, witching someone. What's that?
A lot of Indian folks can be kind of worried about folks trying to hurt them. There used to be stories about Mendoset or shapeshifters, people who would travel through time and space as a spear of light or who could change into different animals and inflict pain or suffering on someone. There is a price to pay for living that way, though, Nui. A lot of times their kids and grandkids will have problems because of the choices they made.
That's scary, Misho.
Just live a good life. Put down your sema or tobacco, and always pray for good health and help.
Okay, Misho.
It's like a pipe. I carry a pipe, but in reality, that pipe carries me. It helps me. It's a spiritual item. It has an essence to itself. You don't have to be overly worried about spiritual things, Nui. That doesn't mean you shouldn't handle them with respect and reverence, but just remember, they will take care of themselves.
So, is a pipe or pipe ceremony one of our older ceremonies?
I would have to say yes. They will sometimes find old pipe bowls at various burial sites, and they are sometimes included in clan bundles. Kind of like tobacco. It's been used for a long time.
So, how do I get a pipe? Can I just make one or buy one?
These days, sometimes it seems that way. But you're supposed to earn one, Nui. You're supposed to fast for 4 days to have the right to carry that pipe.
That's intense, Misho. What is fasting again?
It's going without food or water for a number of days while waiting for a vision.
That's right, dreams are important too. Right, Misho?
Yeah, they say dreams can be messages from the Creator.
Huh. I've had some crazy dreams.
They aren't always messages. Sometimes crazy dreams are just that. Crazy. Kind of our body's way of weeding out information we have heard or things we have been thinking about or worried about.
That's right, Misho. If we dream about someone who passed on, it might be because they want us to make a spirit plate for them. So in a lot of ways, our older beliefs are about relationships, connections between us, the earth, us and our relatives, our ancestors, and spirits or creator.
Yeah, that's a really good way of looking at it, grandson. You really have been listening.
So what other ceremonies do we have?
Pipe ceremony, fasting, talking circle, ghost supper, shanoge or adoption ceremony, tobacco burning ceremony, sweat lodge, naming ceremony, seasonal feast, full moon ceremony, water ceremony, just to name a few.
We've talked about some of these things like fasting, making a spirit plate, and pipe ceremony, but what's a sweat lodge?
First we build a lodge. Usually in the spring we pick willows which are about 10 foot tall to make the frame. Then we dig a hole in the middle. We cover the structure. Some people use blankets, but I use old army tarps.
Do other tribes sweat?
Lots of different tribes do a variation of a sweat lodge. That's one reason I think the pipe and sweating are one of our older ceremonies, since so many different tribes do a variation of it. Same with tobacco. Lots of tribes believe in using tobacco in some way. Other tribes run their sweats a little differently. For example, the Lakota people put a buffalo skull outside and have the door open to the west. We lay a trail of cedar from the fire to the pit inside the sweat, and we enter in the east. We believe the west is only for spirits.
Kind of like how we enter the dance arena from the east and how they take someone out the western door or window when they pass.
Konage no same.
So what's a talking circle?
That's a ceremony where we pass around a talking stick or eagle feather. Whoever has the stick or feather have the floor, and only they can talk. It's a good way to resolve a problem or discuss something in a community. When you have the feather or stick, you can talk as long as you want. Sometimes a talking circle will be part of another ceremony, like a seasonal feast, but it can be a ceremony in and of itself.
So what happens if someone is long-winded and talks forever?
You sit there and respectfully listen.
What if it takes 20 minutes?
I've been in a talking circle where someone talked for half an hour. I was in another that started when it was daylight and ended after the sun set.
Scan-ah. What about those feasts? I think you called them seasonal feasts?
Yeah, we traditionally had a feast in the spring and fall to ask for blessings for the upcoming planting season and thanks for our harvest. Today, some communities will have doings each season.
What's a ghost supper? Is that like the Day of the Dead they celebrate in Mexico?
It's a ceremony we do to remember someone who has passed on. So in some ways, there are similarities. At traditional funerals, they will sometimes do a ghost supper, or a year after the person passes, as kind of a remembrance of that person. Some people will do them even later as part of a shanoge, or adoption ceremony. A table will be set, and different people, usually guests first, will be seated and offered food, which will be sent around the table. You should always take something. Just don't overdo it. It's not a buffet, Nui, and we never waste at a ceremony. We eat everything that we are given, even if we don't like it. Sometimes they will prepare dishes which were favorites of the deceased person, and a place will be set for the deceased person. Sometimes, as part of this ceremony, or later, a person who reminds the relatives of that person will be given gifts and asked to sit in that seat and will be adopted as that person's mother, father, or brother.
Are there other things we don't do anymore? And what about traditional healing?
Egach no same. Take it easy, grandchild. We'll get to more of that. Just gotta be patient. That's enough for today.
Igwian, Misho.
Ahau.